if we play?
There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And I cut Brichelle off right before the opening. What did you say? What were you saying?
Oh, it's fine. I know we're going to play it later. I was going to say, let's play the opening and then play her video that we made and then start the show, but it's okay.
Oh, no. I think that is a wonderful suggestion. By the way, introduce our guest in case I screw up her first name again, and then we will play the video.
Yes. Today we have one of my friends, Hyacinth Morrison, here with us. Follow along. We're going to be talking about all her stuff that she does. SDA-peoplepartners.com is a good place to go to follow along with our conversation. And take a look at this, and we'll be right back.
There is a moment most leaders never talk about. The strategy is sound, the team is capable, and yet something feels off. That moment is not failure. It's a signal that structure and humanity have drifted apart. Calm is often misunderstood. It is not passive. It is not disengaged. It is not soft. Calm is what allows us to see clearly when others react. This is the work I've spent decades doing, helping leaders navigate hard conversations with intention and guiding organizations back into alignment. If this resonates, you're not alone, and I'd love to connect.
And we've already got some people that are here. Let's say Sabrina is here, and she's so excited to be here, and I think she's from her car. And also Johnny.
Yes,
that's my A. That's my A in SDA. That's Sabrina and Ariana, and then there's a D on there somewhere. Sabrina, Deanna, and Ariana. That's my SDA.
Oh my gosh.
There's Deanna.
Hey.
Well, we are so happy that you're all here because and Brichelle, you have got to tell the story of how you met her.
Yes, I'd love to. Well, I met this amazing woman at a retreat, and Sabrina again says, hey, girl, don't go nowhere. Stay here the whole time. And thank you for being here, by the way. I met this beautiful woman, Hyacinth, at a retreat at up the street from my home, actually. And the first time I went there is when I found the life coach that guided me to this, and Kevin. And so what better to do it again another year later or two. And I got to meet her, and we went around and we really just were our soul selves. We got to be our soul selves and talk about what was going on in our world and introducing ourselves on a deeper level than this is my name, my favorite color, and where I'm from. And when Hyacinth spoke, just her in the room itself is its own light that is like the bigger candle of the room. And when she spoke, there was just this almost like I wanted to cry, because although we had no idea who we were, I felt like she accepted everyone in the room exactly where they were and how they were, and held the space within herself to also be vulnerable. And there's so many things I could say, but I let everybody else talk to her first, and I followed her around the house quietly, and then I took my shot chasing her out the door, and she put all her stuff down that I watched her take 5 minutes to pile in her hands, and she gave me a business card and said, I see you, I hear you, and I'd love to connect. And she proves that every single day. And she's come back to share her story and so much more of her world and what's going on. So Hyacinth, I love you so much. And thank you for being here again. How are you?
First of all, thank you, Rochelle, because oh my God, just an amazing introduction and true. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, team, for inviting me back. I mean, it feels like home. It felt like home the first time. It feels like coming back home again, and it's just. Thank you for giving this space for me to talk about actually what I'm passionate about. I just love. Thank you, Rochelle. You know the energy in the room, but SDA was created so let me start with SDA is a vision and a dream that I had. I've been in HR my entire career, and it's over 40 years now. It doesn't make sense. I was 3 when I started. We just don't even need to go into that part. But so I had 3 daughters, and when I was blessed, I was told I wouldn't be able to have children, and I said, well, you know what, I'm gonna try, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And I was blessed with 3 daughters. When I realized that it was 3 daughters, I knew that I had to be an example for those girls. And then as time went on and as my career went on, I realized I had to be an example for everybody watching. I had to be an example for women. I had to be an example for women and people who never felt like they belonged in the room, because that was my story. No one heard it, but it's the way I felt. I turned up every day and in the background watching how leaders were focusing on output, results, but not realizing that it's humans that have to do the work. I watched how they treated people as resources and replaceable. And okay, if they're not going to, they called out, they're late, okay, get rid of them. And I became, I've always been kind of stubborn, and I've always been kind of not scared of anybody. I've always been that kind of girl. And so I would, even young in my career, I would be like, no, we're not doing that. And I would go and discover and talk. And then as I went along, I realized here's the fundamental truth. People are not robots. And so they don't check out their humanity once they get to work. They're there with it. And I started to look at from the top of the organization all the way through, and realize they're all humans. And so as I grew in my career, the way I operated changed. But my daughters, and for what I wanted them to see, is, as I said, someone who may not always feel like they belong in the room, but is going to stand flat-footed for what I believe. My moral code, I won't ever waver, and I always felt like I can get another job, but I am not going to waver from what makes me sleep at night. Because HR, we have to do tough things. We end up being the ones that terminate. We get called in when I always been that girl. We get called in to do the tough things. But what helped me sleep at night is what people saw when they looked at me, what my daughters saw when they looked at me. I want them to be able to proudly display it in their life. So along the way, I said I wanted to have my own HR consulting business one day. And I was going to name it after my 3 daughters. So SDA People Partners is named after Sabrina, Diana, and Ariana. And what I focus on is strategy. I help founders and CEOs and companies build their people strategy. I focus on development, that's the D, and that's leadership development, executive coaching, and I will come in and help develop your leaders so that they are the leaders that represent your culture and can scale and grow with you. And then advisory. And so I'm available for the advisory of how do we do this, what can I do, what can't I do, compliance, and all of the full life cycle of HR. So that was where SDA came from. And the topic that I chose today, compassion-driven performance, is the heart of SDA. And when people hear, and I can pause because I'll keep going. You know I will.
Well, I wanted to ask you because, and it actually plays right into what you'd like to talk about, because
Love it. Love it.
there is something in American corporate world that the two worlds leadership, or the two words leadership and compassion, in many ways are incompatible, or have been seen as incompatible with each other. And I'm here to tell you that compassionate leadership is the wave of the future. It is the only way that companies are going to create and to develop a culture that is going to be, oh, I don't know, like work for everybody. Isn't that what it's all about? And so I want to talk to you about that, because that's compassionate leadership. That's kind of a new age, kind of new thing that a lot of guys are going, well, I don't have to be compassionate. I can just, I got to stop doing that, because I use my Southern accent when I want to create something that,
Oh, I love it. I
that
love
is
it.
less intelligent. And there are lots of really intelligent people in the South. But so in any event, Prashel, what do you think of compassionate leadership? And I think that Hyacinth is really an important part of that.
Yeah, I said, for just the view of you as a woman in today's world, and your girls, and your reason for doing what you do is like, that's purpose, right? That's the whole thing we're chasing. And DRW says, I remember getting to see
Diana.
how she coached compassion firsthand when I interned for her in college. She led a group of leaders through their first layoff in years. Such a masterclass. And I remember hearing about that. I love that people are like, yeah, that's actually true. And Sabrina says, it's the new wave, the only way for companies to stay afloat, and it's the best and most successful way to run a business, which I agree. And Kevin purveys that every single day, and that's why I'm still here. Hyacinth, I don't know if I've told you this, but I was like the worst employee ever. If you disrespected me or upset me or things didn't seem fair, whatever the 9 yards, and you didn't have the one thing that was the humanization of the reason we're here on this earth and I'm working for you in the first place, is showing me some grace and some compassion and understanding. And so I would just quit every job all the time. I would just come home and it's like, what's wrong, honey? Like, why are you home? Well, I just quit because this happened. And I've stayed with Kevin because he understands that compassion comes from understanding that we're all human. And you get that. So share a little bit more.
So that Kevin and I were talking a little bit before, but and just what you just said, Kevin, the work has changed. People are no longer going to put up with you treating them as if they're replaceable and that all you care about is results and output. They're bringing their humanity to work with them, and they are not staying. Exactly what Rochelle just described is exactly what we're dealing with the workforce now. We have 6 generations in the workforce. They are different, and they are all different, and they have different needs. But one thing that they all have in common is their humanity, that they are not willing to compromise. They're not willing to compromise their mental health, and they recognize that. I just want to clear up, because exactly what you said about Kevin, when people hear compassionate leadership, they think, okay, so I don't have to hold anyone accountable. Okay, so now I've got to be soft. Compassion without structure leads to chaos. Structure without compassion leads to burnout. So I'll repeat that. Compassion without structure, all you will have is chaos. You will be moved by everything, and everyone will realize, oh no, you just tell them that this is happening. Just tell them that that's happening. You must have structure. And this is what I tell people all the time in HR groups. You build policies, but you build it so there's flexibility, but you have to have some structure that allows you to still be compassionate, and still have guardrails, and we can still get it done, but we can have some compassion. We can still deliver the hard message, but it's the way that you deliver the message is where the compassion comes in. You can still deliver the hard message with dignity and respect. And I'll give you example after example. But structure without compassion, you will burn people out. In one of the companies that I worked for, the first I joined, it was my 4th day there as the chief people officer, and they had their first, my first board meeting with me in it. They were going through the priorities for the year. There were 32 priorities. And so when they went through all the priorities, I said, so which are the 3 or the 5 that we're going to focus on this year? And they said, we just went through the 32. It's the 32. You know how many we completed successfully that first year? 0. Exactly.
I knew that.
Yes. You read ahead. You cheated.
And by the way, Brachelle, give everybody her Hyacinth's website again and stuff. And then we need to take our break. I'm going to play something about leadership and my take on it when we come back. But Brachelle, go ahead.
Yes, please do follow along with us on her website, which is SDA-peoplepartners.com. And I think that's perfect, Kevin. I'm just thinking in my mind this whole time, you know, when you are a good leader, you're building more leaders the whole way along.
That's exactly right.
Let's get right into it.
Good job.
And very good. And by the way, when we also come back, when you talk about having a hard conversation, even in a compassionate way, I had one of those. And I'd love for her to explain what happened.
Ooh, after the break.
After the break. Yes, indeed. We'll be right back, everybody.
After
Here are some
break.
points to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. You know, some say leadership is about getting the work done, about pushing forward, no matter the cost. But what's the cost of a team with no purpose? What if a single act of support, a single moment of genuine grit could change everything? What if leadership was a catalyst? Because true leadership isn't about being in control. It's about empowering others to find their purpose. It's about leading with passion and igniting the fire in everyone around you, creating a culture of teamwork and common purpose. A true leader finds this culture by enthusiastic purpose and team development, making each team member feel empowered to create, improve, and execute their tasks with genuine passion and a strong belief in the company's mission and focus. In other words, lead with purpose. And welcome back, everybody. We've got a whole pastel full of people that are listening to the show today and watching it. And Brachelle, introduce our guest again and how they can get a hold of her.
Yes, we have the one and the only Hyacinth Morrison. Dun, dun, dun. She's here. Yes, that's really her. If you're not watching this live, you should be, because you can feel the energy. Visit her website, SDA-peoplepartners.com. And Kevin, I believe you had a question. Oh, and we have some comments if you want to pull those up.
Yes, indeed. We'll do the comments first, and then I want to mention this.
Okay. Johnny says, structure paired with compassion is also what helps you prevent any potential bias when leading a team with care. That is a really, really good point. And Sabrina says, ooh, compassion without structure equals chaos. I am seeing that right now, and it leads to nothing but resentment across the board and a really unhappy, exhausted workplace. You know, unfortunately, I think we've all experienced that. Sabrina, we are here with you, girl, so stay with us.
And Sabrina and everybody else, I just want to mention this, and I would love your take on this Hyacinth, whatever your name is.
He makes up like 6 different names for you, just so you know.
The last time you did it, this is Hyacinth.
Hyacinth. Okay.
Good job.
Yeah. Okay.
For about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know. I'll lose it again.
I know, right?
but, but there was a point in time when Brachelle and I started working together when things, for whatever reason, were not going all that well. And she was having difficulties and stuff. And so I sent her an email that said, we need to talk. And I didn't know about this till later on. But what was your reaction when you read that email?
Well, first of all, it was a text, and you sent it with a period, which made it intensified, if you know what I mean. We all know what that's like. And I remember I started sweating, I started shaking, my heart rate went up. I thought I could run out the window and fly. I was just like, I'm about to lose my job, or there's a problem. I've done something wrong. That inner critic just took control, and I spiraled faster than I could have really caught it. And so I gathered whatever part of me I had, and I went downstairs, and when Kevin sends me those kind of messages, I just call him. There's that we need to talk. Okay, I'm here. So I gave him a call, and I'm sitting there out in the middle of nowhere on this swing and a porch watching the sun go down, and Kevin says, "How do you feel like you've been lately?" He didn't say anything else. He asked me how I was. And before he told me where the issues were lying and how they were at the surface, I got to take responsibility for it first. I got to apologize. He got to explain why he brought this up and encourage me and tell me he was proud of me and thankful for the conversation. And then he said, so here are my boundaries. This is what my goals are. And here is what I'm working for. And this is how I need you to show up. Can you do that? And are you willing to? And that was the moment that knot tied. And I decided that there was nothing more important in my life than doing this, because not only the way he taught me through that conversation, but what I had already learned about communication and changing my style of life, and knowing that that was only going to build in the way that was best for me. And I now had Kevin, who's been the biggest support that I've ever had. I didn't know I needed. And it was about our relationship. And I mean, I'm not going anywhere. So I remember feeling so good after that conversation, and I didn't know that was leadership. Possible. Yep.
Yeah. That's the best example of a compassionate leader. Were you going to say something, Kevin, before I go into my...
I was just going to say that I prefaced it by, number one, valuing her as a human being. Right. And that also that I understand that for lack of a better term, poop happens in life, and me and the company needs to support you in the poop that's happening so that you can rise above it, because you are so friggin' talented. It's not fair.
Okay, and don't make me cry. Hyacinth, it's your turn.
Oh my God, look at this love fest. I love this.
Ridiculous.
But you know, they have just demonstrated, everybody, that when you are a compassionate leader, a leader is responsible, and performance, you get performance from clarity, accountability, and when you add humanity to it, that's when you see performance. A leader's responsibility, I realized along the way in my career, was not to manage people. A leader's responsibility is to design and create an environment where people can succeed. And what you just heard was a beautiful example of creating an environment where Brachelle felt not only that she could be successful, what wanted to be. It changed everything about her. And she says, I'm not going anywhere. I think Deanna put it on there and said, people leave people. They don't leave jobs. People leave leaders, and they'll stay for good leaders. Yeah. And so, there's lots of big things coming in.
Samuel!
Hi, Samuel. I don't know you. Look at
Well,
this.
let me tell you, Hyacinth, I've
I will
waited for this
pause.
moment. I'm going to just be in so much gratitude by the end of today. Greetings, Brother Kevin, Sister Ambassador Burchelle, and Hyacinth Morrison. We are watching you live from Kaiberia Restoring Hope Center, based in the slums of Nairobi, Kenya.
Oh,
We are watching you live with my team here, preparing for tomorrow's Saturday feeding program.
my
God bless you. Together we are strong. Together we are one.
God.
Hyacinth, for the first time ever tomorrow morning, I'm going to join them live on their Facebook for his feeding program, No Child Goes to Bed Hungry.
Oh,
And I
beautiful.
will do my best not to share happy tears the whole time.
There are going to be
Beautiful.
50 kids that are going to rest on every word that Rochelle said and every tear that she sheds.
There's over
Beautiful.
400 of them now. So
Beautiful.
it'll be exciting.
Samuel, Samuel, yes, but it just reminded me of another example of compassionate leadership. We heard, my HR team, Vanessa, who I think is on, had heard that we had employees who were not eating breakfast. They didn't have enough money to eat breakfast and to bring lunch to work every day. And they were coming every day, but they literally just couldn't afford to provide for themselves. The company was an emergency preparedness company, and we had pancake mix that we would just discard. And we had 2 employees come up and say, if you will provide it, we will fix breakfast for them every morning. We'll come in earlier and provide. And we as a leadership said, absolutely, we will come every now and again, commit every day. But the creating an environment where people can succeed when they know that you care about them, the performance happened, the output, the results happened because we showed that we care. Leaders have to know the people that they lead. A lot of leaders, it's hard to have these hard conversations. A lot of leaders prefer to just avoid it or gloss over it.
Yep.
A compassionate leader, if you heard what Kevin did, what Rochelle said that Kevin did, that's what compassionate leader does. He didn't avoid it. He addressed it, but the way he addressed it with compassion, with dignity and respect, made her want to perform even better because she recognized by him asking her first, how have you shown up, or the way you said, how have you been doing lately? It gave her an opportunity to tell on herself. He didn't even have to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He asked her, and she honestly told him how she hasn't been or has been, but in this case, she hasn't been. So again, I say a compassionate leader isn't soft. It's about dignity and respect, holding people accountable, giving clarity, being clear on your expectations. You can't hold people accountable for what they don't know you're asking from them.
Yeah.
You can't hold people accountable when it's not clear, when they don't quite know what you want them to do.
Yep.
So it's our responsibility as leaders to be clear, to give clarity, expectations, make them, help people know what's expected of them, hold them accountable, and maintain their humanity. Make sure you know who they are. That's
Yeah.
it.
And-
I remember.
Oh, and you said leaders are raising leaders. I think that you said
Yes.
something.
That, because it's the same thing. Like, I've gotten to be who Kevin's been for me, for someone else, and see the same thing play out with teenagers. People, this works with teenagers.
Yes.
Just so you know that, take that and run with it.
Yeah.
And Kevin, I remember you specifically, we got on the phone and you said, hey kid, word for word, you said, what's been going on with you? And I just, boof, just everything. And I explained it from, this is what's going on. This is how I feel. And here's how I know I'm falling short. and
Right.
being able to say I'm sorry
Yeah.
before it's here's what you've done wrong and here's where the problem
Yeah.
lies. Kevin, I will forever be thankful for you. I think I will lay in my grave and I will cry out of gratitude.
That was scary. That would be
Because-
really scary, but okay.
Oh my Lord.
Ooh. Oh God.
Well, the
She's
heavens will
crying?
be crying for me, but
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so thankful.
But the interesting part of that and the continuation of that is every day since. Well, not every day, but almost every day that we work together at one point or another, and tell me if this is true, Michelle,
Okay.
I have said to you, I am so proud of you.
Every single day. I'm thankful for you. I'm proud of you.
Wow.
Thank you for being a part of my world. Those three things are never unsaid. And I come back bigger, I come back better, I come back stronger. And now when I feel like I'm falling short or something's going on before it shows, I come to Kevin openly and say, this is what's going on with me. Can you help me see this from a different perspective so that I can be who I need to be for myself and show up in life, but also be able to manage and deal with this without shoving it somewhere else until it pops.
And go ahead, Kevin.
I was just going to say, and we need to take our halftime break. Hyacinth.
Oh my God.
Good job.
Hyacinth. It's okay. We'll practice during the break.
That's
Speech therapy after this show.
Right.
and,
We'll call you every day and say my name.
and there. Would you have a simpler name? Could it be like anyway? The
No,
last
it's
show,
perfect and it's meaningful. Don't you ever?
What she said.
Yeah.
But I'll let you call me Hi. I'll let you call me Hi if that helps.
When we come back from this halftime break, I want to go into that. The history of your name is really remarkable, and so
Yeah.
I should not be massacring it like that.
Right?
So
Okay.
I'm just going to
Spiritually,
say,
it's powerful. I'd be careful, Kevin.
so Michelle, when we come back, you and her are going to go over that, and we'll be right back in about a minute. So stay with us, everybody. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio Network. We're on a mission to entertain, enlighten, empower, and educate through inspiring music, dynamic conversations, and yes, laughter. Join me, Kevin McDonald, and Michelle as we declare our freedom from hate, division, and fear and celebrate a better way of living. Go to positivetalkradio.net to find out more. Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. You know, the world doesn't need more noise. Everyone knows we have enough of that. What we need is more listening. Because listening creates understanding. Listening builds bridges. And listening reminds people that they matter. Real progress happens when we slow down long enough to hear one another. Not to fix, not to judge, just to understand someone else's point of view. When conversations are rooted in respect and humanity, they have the power to heal, inspire, and move people forward. That's our mission. That's why we're here. I hope you'll join us. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Brachelle's here, and there's somebody in between us. Who's that, Brachelle?
Hyacinth Morrison.
You see how easy that was, Kevin? I'm going to call you Keyban.
Do it.
How easy that was, Keyban?
Or when I was a kid, there was a television show, and it was called JP Patches. And JP Patches in the Pacific Northwest was a really well-known name, and they had a little rubber chicken that they had in a stove, and he took it out, and they called, you know what they called it? They called it Kevin Turkey. And until they got so many complaints from mothers of Kevins who had to deal with it in school that they changed the name to Tyke Turkey. So, but you can call me Kevin Turkey all day long if you want to.
No, it's Kevin.
It's keep.
Yeah, it's
That's a
okay,
European
Keelan, yeah.
pronunciation. Yeah.
I'm never gonna let that go just for you, Hyacinth. I hope you
Thank
know
you
that.
so. I so appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh no! Now, Dee's her doctor says you got this, Kevin. All the letters are there.
They should put the name Diana. Yeah, that's right. You got it, Kevin. If you just look at literally all the letters, Hyacinth is literally in my name. Hyacinth. Hyacinth.
Well,
Hyacinth.
we'll just say this is such a love fest, and that is Sabrina. And thank you, Sabrina. And by the way, Samuel would like to add to the conversation as well.
He says, hello from the Kyberia Restoring Hope Center. We salute you, Kevin McDonald, our ambassador, Burchelle, and guest, Madam Hyacinth Morrison. We are listening and watching from the Kyberia Restoring Hope Center, based in the slums of Nairobi, Kenya. We are in our center together preparing for today's feeding program. No child goes to bed hungry. Thank you for highlighting our weekly feeding program to the world. You're welcome. We love you. And I'll see you soon.
Keep up the good work, Samuel.
And Sabrina, thank you very much. I can say Sabrina, you're now in my world, not Kevin Turkey. I love that.
I can't believe you guys aren't even messing up my name. I feel so left out.
Right. And I was so careful with my 3 daughters' names because I've lived the life of Hyacinth.
Yeah.
I was like, well, they can't mess up Sabrina, Diana. But Diana says they mess her name up all the time. Okay. And Ariana, I guess they do with that too. But I've tried because I've lived Hyacinth and it's so easy, but not for everyone.
Talk about the power of living your name and a little bit of that background.
Yeah. So I knew when I was growing up that I was named after my aunt. So my dad's sister. I found out in the last year that she was the firstborn in the family and obviously the first female. Her name was Hyacinth. She was a formidable woman. She was, the family were butchers. And so they had, obviously they had cattle and all of that, but they then had a lot of other businesses. And then I came to find out that Hyacinth formed all the businesses. She would be the one that signed off on all the business. With the butchering business, she insisted on butchering her own animals herself. But she was also loving and kind and charitable. So I knew some of that when I was growing up. But I found out in the last year that there were 7 brothers born after Hyacinth. 6, because the 7th only had 1 son. 6 of them named one of their daughters Hyacinth. And I only found that in the last year. Of my 3 daughters, my last daughter, Ariana, the one that says Jayani right there, we call her Ani. Look at that. Yeah, they definitely mess up Ariana. Her middle name is Hyacinth. But I will say all 3 of my daughters are formidable. They're all very strong girls. They're all very strong women, all married to amazing men. They married so well. I'm single, divorced. I still can't figure it out, but they got it right. They figured it out. And Ariana named her youngest daughter Luna Hyacinth. There are some similarity, but with the 3 girls, you can see it. But even with Luna, you can see she's 9 months old. You can see the stubbornness. You can see the determination already. My name is a flower. It comes out in the spring. It's beautiful. It comes out in purples and pinks, and it's known because it has this amazing aroma. But it also stands for Prince. It's not Princess Warrior. I should know this, but it's a warrior. I'm going to say Princess Warrior. Okay. A very strong woman. And if you ask Samos, I am quite a strong woman. I am a loving woman, but I'm quite a strong woman. In my career, the A-type, and I was going to say the other word, but the A-type men and the narcissistic type men are those that I thrive with. and to turn them into compassionate leaders, because they specifically see it as soft and okay. I just let everyone do what they want to do. I don't, okay, I won't hold anyone accountable. I just like, oh, there. And so it's been fun in my career to be able to help people understand what compassionate leadership really means. And with SDA, that's what I love, to go into organizations and help them understand how they will retain talent and attract talent. Because there's nothing more frustrating for talented people than they're in an organization that all they care about is output. They don't care about their humanity. They don't care to know them. There is nothing more that causes burnout. It causes people to disengage. They will quit and not tell you until they find something else. They will have ideas and never share it because they know you don't care. Organizations that just care about output, I have seen workers' comp claims go out the roof because they are going to get you. I've seen theft where they have theft rings. I've seen time clock fraud because they know you don't care, and so neither do they. And so it produces the opposite of what you're trying to accomplish. So it has been a beautiful journey for me to be able to take some of the more difficult personalities who really, when I say, compassionate leadership, for them to understand it and for me to connect to their humanity first. Rochelle, something you said that I just want to touch on, where you said, because of his leadership, it's made you a better leader. I always ask leaders, who was the leader they admired, and tell me what you admired about them. And that tells me the story of the way they lead. And if they admired someone who was a hard fist, they didn't let anybody get away. If you leave them, they're going to screw you over. That's who they became. They admired that. So FDA has been able to go into just beginning. I'm a baby out here, but I've got a long career. But so I've been able to help leaders understand.
I've got to ask you, because you're a strong woman and you are a leader in your own right. And according to Johnny says,
she's Ani.
Yes.
That's Ariana.
Can I just call you Ariana? I'm much happier
There you
with
go.
that.
There you go.
There you go. But have you ever said to a leader that you are working with, by the way, I just want to tell you that your narcissistic behavior is retarding your company's growth?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I've been able to demonstrate it in, the 32 priorities. I loved that one because I was able to go back and say, can we look at how well that worked out? The 32 priorities, and it was the roughest year ever. But so here's a story that I am proud of it, because it was a moment. It was a moment that helped me grow up as a leader and as an HR leader. I had a narcissistic boss who did not respect HR, did not respect me. He was mean, and it was output, and he would throw things at employees and all kinds of things. I had been with the company a few months, and I tried every one of my tricks to appeal to him and to inform him that what he wanted and the result he was getting was complete opposite. And the reason he was getting that was because of the behavior. And it made him just double down and work around me. One day we had a serious fire at the plant, and he ratcheted up to the next level. He started coming in on the weekends, hiding in bushes to try and catch people doing things that he thought was unsafe. He would hide behind down corridors and hide behind to try and hear things. I had met the global CEO once. He had come just after he started. So I'd met him once. He was in London. We were based in South Carolina. I found out his cell phone, and I called him. He was getting off a tube in London, and I said, I know you don't know me because you met me once, and my name is, And I said, what he was big on safety. So his whole, and this CEO, the global CEO, he'd had an accident young in his career and lost an eye, and he had a glass eye. So safety was really, really important to him. So I called him and I said, I know that we've had this incident, and so it makes us even more focused on safety. And I started to describe some of the behavior that I was seeing with the president, and I said, and what it was creating. And he, the compassionate leader, said, I think I'm causing some of that behavior. He said, because the pressure that I'm putting on him, because I want it to be a safe plant and I want people to be safe. But I think the pressure that I am putting on him is creating what you're seeing. So I'm going to adjust my behavior, and I am not going to tell him about this conversation. And he never did, but he checked back in with me, and he would check in. He checked in a month later, and he said, are you seeing any difference? And I said, I am. I am starting to see some difference. He came. He acted like we didn't know each other. And he says, I'm sorry, what was your name again? And did the whole thing. And never said it to the leader, but he would check in with me and I would say, I'm still seeing some of this and I'm still seeing some of that, but I am seeing a change. And in the end, he made a decision to make a change with that leader who was from Europe and said, you know what, we will find an American leader to lead the Americas. And he transferred him back to Europe and allowed me to help pick a leader who was a compassionate leader. So I have, to answer your question, I have, that was my moment of, to thine own self be true, that I cannot stay silent. I have to do something. I have to be, if there's no one else that will speak, I must speak up. And so that was my story of, I will always speak up now.
Well, it's your job, and it's necessary because you do it. You do it out of compassion. You do it out of love because you're trying to help them recognize that there's a better way, and that they can actually lower turnover, improve productivity, and that drops directly to the bottom line. I wanted to ask you, because one of the biggest issues I think that's out there is when people quit, but they don't quit.
Sorry,
I wanted to mention this too. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, Kevin. That's really good, actually. And I wanted to just relate why, because Hyacinth, what you did when you spoke up, you changed him as a person and made him better without him knowing. Everybody else that was probably under that company and working with you saw the change and felt the change, and it made a difference in more than just that workspace, but everyone around you. You did it for the entirety, and that itself is what people really can grasp. But Kevin, yes, go ahead.
And Kevin, it froze. So I didn't hear your question.
Oh, the comment that I was making was, and the question that I had was, do you help leaders realize that sometimes employees will quit, but they won't quit?
They quit, but didn't bother to tell you. I say it all the time.
They're still showing up every day, but their productivity is falling, and they don't care. And if you say to them, "Why don't you care?" It's like, because you don't care. Why should I care?
Exactly. Oh, I say it all the time. They quit and didn't bother to tell you because they try, or they may have tried once or twice, and they're like, "We don't have time for that. Just do what you're supposed to do. That's it." And they said, "Oh, okay. I will do the bare minimum, and I will be here if I'm supposed to be here at 8." And you'll see it in some where they used to get there at 7:30, they used to get 7:45. Now they'll be here at 8 o'clock exactly and leave exactly at 5. They quit. They just didn't bother telling you. And they are no longer, because they learned along the way that you really don't give a damn what they think or how they feel or what they're going through. All you care about is results. And so they said, okay, that's all you'll get. and you'll get minimum results at that.
Yep.
And is that, by the way, if you're an employee, then you're going through that, just go ahead and quit. Go
Yeah.
find something that you love to do,
Please.
because
Yeah.
you're just wasting your time.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to go home at night when you know that you haven't done your best work, and because you have to, you're the one who makes that decision to live with yourself. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. Let me tell you this. If every Sunday night you dread Monday morning, if the dread starts to kick in around noon on Sunday, and you start to think, oh God, I gotta go back to work tomorrow, it's time to make that change. If as you're walking in, that is the most miserable steps from the car to the door, it's time to update your resume and find something that gives you life, that you can actually feel like they appreciate what you do. Go ahead, Kevin.
Do you remember the Green Mile?
Yes.
The movie's so
I mean, for some people, going to work is like walking the Green Mile, which on your way to the electric chair. And life is too short because it affects your family, it affects your kids, and the dog starts running away from you because you keep kicking him. And it's important. So
and I'll also say to leaders, the leadership courage, because I think something you said about it was Kevin that said it's your job. I can't tell you how many HR leaders have said to me, how does HR get a backbone? How do we gain the trust of leaders? Because a lot of HR leaders, they're not respected. They just do the administration. Don't worry about all this other things. So there's a journey that has to happen with, and I'm talking to a lot of HR leaders. I've got some speaking engagements coming up, teaching them how to build trust with leaders so that you have a voice and that you are responsible for the culture, and that you can, but you have to know the business. You have to be involved in the business. You can't just be HR and that's all you give input to. Get to know the business and be a part of the business so that they start to lean on you and learn that you're more than just the HR administrator. You are the people. You are the people resource, and you are the one that knows the culture. You tap into the people. You are the one that they can lean on when their blind spots don't see, why no one had any questions when you were done. They've checked out. They know that you don't listen. So when you say no one has questions, so we're good. No, they're just not going to ask anything out loud because they know you don't care.
By the way, Sabrina says soft quitting hurts everyone, and
Diana
says the tough thing is. Oh, go ahead, Rochelle.
Yeah, the tough thing is a lot of younger employees don't believe better environments exist. Leaders have the opportunity to totally redefine that thinking. That's exactly what Kevin has done for me. And you know what's crazy, Hyacinth, is I'm thinking about how many jobs I've had, specifically, unfortunately, Amazon. When you go into the right after you do the interview, they hire you, they do the job, and then you have that training, right? So it's for maybe a few days, maybe like 2 weeks, and you sit in a room with a bunch of other people they also just hired. They're already checked out before they start doing the job that you hired them to do. Do you work and focus on that space alone so that you know that the people you hired are even going to do that job well?
So that's something, thank you, that SDA can offer for companies, because people will feel disengaged before they even start, depending on how that onboarding process was conducted. I can't even remember the name of the company. It was Diana. It was my son-in-law. He was starting a company. They sent him a bag of all this swag and things to make life more comfortable. He was going to be remote, but they sent him not just his monitor and what have you. They sent him things to make things more comfortable for him at home. And he felt so good before he even started the company because he got this whole package of things. different places I've sent out things like, what's your favorite food, what's your favorite this, what's your favorite that, and then sent them things about their team that they're going to join, that their favorite books, and so they already feel a part of the team. They already start to get to know this team. We have them make sure that their new boss sends a message, but so does the people that's going to be on their team, and say, we can't wait for you to start, and we heard that you like this and like that. And some of them have had those things ready for when they get there. There are so many ways that you can make someone feel a part of the organization before they get there. And the same in reverse happens, what you just described, Rochelle. You can actually arrive and already feel disconnected because of the onboarding process. They did not make you feel welcome, and you know you're not welcome. You are a number.
Well, and they tend to talk to you like children. And one thing I'm so thankful for, Kevin, that just makes me want to blow up out of excitement is when it's somebody's birthday on our team, it is a big deal. And we celebrate the fact that we are appreciative of their life. When they're having one of their kids, that's like, it's just all intertwined, and the people really matter and they're heard. Yeah. But the way they're communicated with is not childish and very, I think it's just people are very surface level with things. They don't go under the surface. I don't understand why we don't do a little bit more of that, but the repercussion that causes, like you just mentioned, is massive.
Yeah, the disengagement, the quit, but I didn't let you know I quit. But yeah, I'll just the way you treat me, I'll treat you back. I'll show up. No, I'll show up every day mostly. My body will be here.
Well, Kevin's told stories where he actually let somebody go and they came back and thanked him for releasing them from doing something that they dreaded so much. And we don't even give ourselves that chance. And as a leader, you need to be able to be that for your people if they don't fit there.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, my son worked at Costco one time, and every time he was walking through the Costco, he looked like he was on the Bataan Death March. He was unhappy. He was frowning, and nobody, not one person, not one manager came up to him and said, "Are you happy here? You look like this is painful death to you every day you come here." And nobody ever had that conversation with him. And he would have been better served had somebody had that conversation.
Yeah. That's why I do a 30, 60, 90 where I'm checking in and I'm saying, what can we do better? How can we make you feel like you belong more? Or are we? I want to know, how are we doing, and what can we improve on? We won't get in trouble. We want to improve. We want to hear from you. I do exit interviews. I don't want to hear it at the end. I want to hear it when your first impression when you come into an organization. We say that
did we lose
we
her?
lost you.
Can you hear that?
I think your microphone turned off.
Might be the microphone. If it died, possibly. Let's make sure. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm like, we have 3 minutes. Don't mess it up.
And she was so brilliant at that moment.
That was like so genius.
We can't hear you, hon.
We lost. Let's do this. It's okay. Just give it 2 seconds and just say, what if we did this and then we did this? Can we hear you now? No. Oh, Kevin Streamer just has to test us when things are real good. You know how life is.
I know. Well, while we're waiting, and we'll try and hook up back with her. Give everybody her information and how they can reach out to her company, because this is so needed.
I think I heard you for a minute, Hyacinth. If you need to go out and come back in, feel free. Nope, not that either. But everybody please go and visit her website, whether you're in a company and you're that person who wants to speak up to change the environment, or unless you're that leader who recognizes maybe you and your team need some help, or any of the above. It is good to be able to reach out to Hyacinth, who is there for everybody where they stand at SDA-peoplepartners.com. And
we can hear you now.
As she says, She is always looking forward to connecting with you. So make
my
that
gosh.
time.
I
I
don't
swear
know
we
what
hear
to
her.
do.
Wait, I hear you. Don't do
We
anything.
hear you.
Talk.
We hear you now.
I think I can hear you. Can you hear
I don't know
us?
what to do.
Oh, we can hear her and she can't hear us now.
It's because she took her earpiece out. She can't hear us, but we can. Well, you know what this means, Rochelle?
That she's got to come back like ASAP.
Yes, ma'am, because we've run out of time anyway. But I want you to do your best.
Oh, we can hear you. Give it 2 more seconds, I believe.
I believe.
Can
Right.
you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you
No.
now.
I can't hear you now. Oh my God. Why?
Life is.
I'm glad you
such a
can hear me. I
wonderful-
just can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
We can hear you. Oh, okay. Well,
This is crazy.
I wish that I could allow the
Send her a text real quick.
Okay.
You try
Okay.
sign language?
I'm
Is that
going
what
to
you're saying? I don't know what else to
say
try here.
whatever
Oh my gosh.
you'd like to close out.
Oh.
He types so much faster than I do. It would have been a. Oh, look in the private chat. Look.
We're down there. Look down there. Maybe on the other side.
Stop mic. Nope. But you can
No.
hear me.
Look in the chat. Look in the chat. Yeah.
Chat.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. It's because you can hear me. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I guess I would just close with, I had this compassion-driven performance isn't about lowering expectations. It's about recognizing that people are humans first. And when leaders create clarity, accountability, and humanity at the same time, performance doesn't weaken, performance is sustainable. Thank you again, guys. Oh my God, this was the wildest ending ever.
And Deanna said, or I think it's Deanna. She said, well, everybody's managing this confusion with compassion, and that's what counts. And that is so true. She's got to come back, Rochelle, so we got to have her back.
She knows. She's got to know. I can go chase her down. I know.
You know where she lives.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in, and I hope that you took so much benefit from this show, and you do reach out to Hyacinth for any reason that she can help you. She is so open to it and the best person to work with you in your company through your leadership and culture. It's important. So thank you, Kevin, for creating a culture that is just beyond what words can describe. I am always in gratitude. And Hyacinth, I know you can't hear me, but I love her so much, and I'm so thrilled that she got to spend this time with us. So keep in mind that we love you and you're worth it. And until next time, we'll see you soon, everyone.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another because each other's all we've got.